Hello everybody, welcome once again to another interesting quantitative aptitude video from CareerRide.com. The topic that we are going to learn in today's video is statistics. Another very important topic when it comes to your placement tests and entrance exams, both. Now in all the exams you will find at least 3 to 4 questions showing up from this topic. And trust me, all of these questions can be very scoring because they are not at all difficult to solve. All that you have to have is your basics should be right and you should have the right tricks to solve these questions. And in today's video, we are going to get both of these things. So let's start. Okay, so to begin with the video, let us first of all learn some basics because it is these basics on which the chapter rests. The first thing that we need to know here is what actually is statistics. So if you see statistics, it is the science of collecting and studying the data to provide you some information. So what we basically do in statistics is we try to collect some data, okay, and then we try to study that data. Why do we do this? Because this data, when you study it, it tries to convey some information to you, and based on that information you want to take some actions, right? And this is why we study statistics. Now for example, let us say we have got 10 students in a class, okay, and this is a record of their marks that they scored in their exams, okay. Now the students scored, let us say 30, 25, 25, 32, 45, 29. These were the marks that the students scored. So what is this information? This is actually the data about those students. What is this? This is the data and we denote it by X. Okay. Now if you look at this data, you see that 25 here occurs twice, which means there were 2 students out of 10 who scored 25 marks. Then there were 3 students who scored 32 marks. So what is this 3 and what is this 2 here? 25 occurring twice or 32 occurring thrice. What is this? This is nothing but the frequency, right? How many times a particular data occurs is its frequency, okay? Now till here you have got just 10 students, so you could work with this data in this fashion. But for a moment imagine that there were 400 students in the school, or let us say there were 1000 students in the district, and you wanted to make a plan for them based on the marks that they scored in their exams. Will you be able to deal with this type of data in that case? Will you be able to deal with 400 entries or 1000 entries in that case? It is going to become difficult, and there's a way out to deal with that. What is that? Let's see. Okay, so now as we just discussed, when you have got a large amount of data to deal with, what do? You try to group the data together. That is, you try to get the similar type of items together so that you can take a similar type of action for similar items, right? So now coming back to our example where we had got some students and their scores, and we wanted to take some action based on their performance, right? So now when there were only 10 students, it was easier to deal with the data. But now that there are 400 students in the school and we want to do something about them, it is difficult to deal with data if you have gotten individual items. So what do you try to do? You try to club the data. You try to get the similar type of items together, similar type of students together. So what do? You try to get the students who have scored 0 to 10 marks together, right? Similarly 10 to 20 marks students who have scored, you try to get them together. 20 to 30 marks, 30 to 40 marks and 40 to 50 marks. You try to get each type of students together. And what is this 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30? This is nothing but class interval, right? When the data amount is large, many a times you will find question like this when the data will be given to you in this type of a table, okay? Now there were 40 students who scored 0 to 10 marks. So what is this? This is the frequency, right? We studied this is the frequency and it is denoted by F. Now there were 125 students who scored 20 to 30 marks between 20 and 30. So what is this? This is the frequency, right? 40 to 50 marks, between 40 and 50 there were 75 students. So what is this? This is frequency again, okay? Now each of these class intervals has got a limit, a lower limit and an upper limit. Now let us see the first class interval, that is 0 to 10. Here 10 is the upper limit of this class denoted by UL and 0 is the lower limit, right? Let's move on to the next class interval 20. This is the upper limit of this class and this 10, this is the lower limit. Similarly 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Can you identify the lower limit and upper limit of each of these class intervals? Very easy. Okay. Now the next thing that you will have to find out in the questions based on class intervals would be class mark. Class mark is nothing but the midpoint of that class interval. It is denoted by xi. Okay. And how do you find it? It is very easy to find it. What do? You simply add upper limit plus lower limit and you divide it by 2, right? So in first case, in the first class interval, what is it? 10 plus 0 divided by what? Divided by 2. What will it give you? It will give you 5. What will happen in the second case? 10 to 20. 20 plus 10 divided by 2. This will give me 15, right? Similarly, can you find out the midpoint or the class mark for the next class intervals? Very easy. The next one would be what? It would be 25. This will be 35. This will be 45, right? If you need, you can pause the video here and try to do it yourself. Okay. Now, the next important thing that you will find in the exams will be the range of the class interval, where the question will be as simple as what is the range of this class interval. Okay. There is nothing difficult at all here. Only thing is you have to know what is being asked to you. Okay. So how do you find the range of a class interval? You simply subtract lower limit from the upper limit. This is range, right? So in the first case, what is the range? It is 10 minus 0. This is 10. In the second class interval, it is 20 minus 10. This is 10, right? So similarly, you will see it is 10 for all the class intervals given to us here, right? Make sure that you understand this concept of class mark, that is midpoint and range, very well, because many a times you will find very direct questions based on them, and it is not a good idea to lose your marks for such simple things. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so now coming to the first concept of statistics from which the questions are asked to you in the exams, and it is the mean. It is a measure of central tendency, and if you go by the meaning of the word, it is average of all the observations, right? And you denote this mean by x bar. Okay, how do you find the mean? Mean is equal to mean, that is x bar is equal to sum of all the observations divided by the total number of observations. Okay, so now let us take the first example here. We have got this data 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 8, 2, 12, 6. These are 10 observations and you are required to find the mean of these observations of this data. So what you will do? First of all, you will try to find the sum of all these observations. How will you find the sum? You will just simply add all these observations, and as you add all these observations, what do you get? You get 5, 5, 10, 12, 16, 16 and 6 is 22. You get a total of 50 here. Okay, so the sum of all the observations is 50. And how many total number of observations are there? The total number of observations is 10. So what is going to be the mean of this data? X bar in this case is going to be 50 upon 10, right? So the mean data here, is here 5. The mean of this data is, in the first case, is 5. But in many cases, what might happen is they might give you the data with the frequency. Okay, so let us take a look at this table that we have got here. The first column is the marks obtained by the students. So some students scored 25 marks, 30, 32, 35. This way the students scored the marks. And how many students scored how many marks? 10 students scored 25 marks. 8 students scored 30 marks. 10 students scored 32 marks. 4 students scored 35 marks and so on. Now if you are required to find the mean marks of this class, then how are you going to do it? What you will require is the first sum of all the marks obtained by all the students, right? The marks obtained by All the students is the first entry that you require to find the mean. So 25 marks by 10 students. That means 250 marks here. 30 marks by 8 students. So I get 240 marks here. 32 by 10 students. So 320, right? So what I'm doing? I'm actually multiplying the first column by the second column and I'm getting my third column, right? That is fx. The third column is fx, right? So the frequency multiplied by the data is what? It is the fx column, right? 35 marks by 4 students, 140. So this is how you get the data for the third column here. Okay. Now, what is the total marks of this class? So the total marks of this class is, you will add up all these marks, right? 250 plus 240 plus 320 plus 140 plus this plus 315 plus 250. So this is the total marks of this class. What is this? This is equal to, if you add up all this thing, this adds up to 1755. I have checked it. You can check it too, right? And how many total students are there? I'm trying to find the mean marks, right? So it will be divided by the total number of students in the class. So what is it? It is 10 plus 8 plus 10 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5. This is going to give me a total of what? This is going to give me a total of 50 students, right? So the total marks obtained by the total number of students, that is 50, right? This is going to give me what? This is going to give me 35.1. This is the mean marks of this class. This is the mean marks obtained by this class. So in this case, what actually the formula becomes? The formula becomes x bar is equal to the summation of fx, right, divided by the total number of students, that is sigma f, that is summation of f, that is summation of frequency, right? You might find it a little difficult or confusing here, but don't worry, there is an easier method to deal with this type of questions. For the moment, just take a look at what I'm trying to tell you, okay? As we move forward, things will start becoming clearer to you, okay? But to get your concepts right, it is very important that you pay attention to this table. Otherwise, the things ahead might become difficult for you, okay? So just ensure that you have understood whatever I have taught you on this screen. Okay, coming to question number 1. Marks obtained by 40 students in class 9th A are given below. Find the mean marks obtained by the students. So this is a table given to you where the marks of the students are given to you. But when we look at the table, we see that, okay, the data here is group data. Okay, the marks given to you for the students are in the column 1, and it is given to you that 0 to 20 marks were obtained by 5 students. 7 students scored between 20 to 40. 15 students scored between 40 to 60. 10 students scored between 60 to 80 and 3 students scored between 80 to 100. There are no accurate marks given to you for the students, okay, like in the previous case. So in such a case, we have learned what do we have to do? We have to find out the class mark, right? So in this column, the third column, let us try to find out the class mark. How do we do that? Upper limit plus lower limit of the class and dividing the whole thing by 2 gives you the class mark or the midpoint of that class interval. We already know this. Let's try to find out. So for the first case, it is 20 plus 0 by 2. That is what? 10. This becomes, the second one becomes 40 plus 20 by 2. This is 30. This is what? This is 50. This is 70 and this is 90. Pretty easy to find, right? So now we have to find out what is the total marks scored by the students in the first category, right? 0 to 20 marks. What are the total marks? So 50 into 10, right? So this gives us 50. We have seen this in the previous case also, right? If there is any confusion, you can refer to the previous case once again and come back to this, okay? So 57 into 30 is what? This gives us 210. This is 750. FI, that is what we are trying to find out, right? So 10 students and the average marks is 70. So we get 700. This is 90. 9 3 is 27. So this is 270, right? Now, what do we have to do? We have to find out the total marks obtained by the students, all the students, right? So what do? We add up the whole thing like we did in the previous case. What does this do? This gives us 750. This is 7, 8, 1500, 16, 17, 17, and this is 1980. This is a total of 1980, right? So what have we found out? We have found out our sigma fi xi, right? And to find out the mean marks x bar, what do we have to do? We have to divide by the total number of students, that is sigma fi, right? So what is this? This is 1980 and sigma fi is what? Can we add it here? Fi is the second column, right? But do we need to really add it? Because it is given to us in the question already that this adds up to 40. This is the data for 40 students. So 1980 by 40, right? What does this give me? This gives me 4 4 the 16, 4 4 the 16, and 3 49, 49.5. This gives me 49.5. So the mean marks, that is for this class, is what? It is 49.5, right? Pretty easy, nothing difficult at all here. All that you have to do is you have to understand that the class interval is given to me. So I have to find out, the first thing I have to find out is the class mark and multiplied by the frequency. Otherwise, it is pretty similar to the previous example that we discussed. There is nothing difficult here at all. It is very easy. All that you have to know what you have to do. Okay, let's move on further. Question number 2. Marks obtained by 400 students of class 9th in a school are given below. Find the mean marks obtained by the students. Now see, if you look at this question and the table, you will see that this question is again pretty similar to question number 1. The difference is that rather than 40 students, this time we have 400 students in the question. Okay, and this is how the data is getting larger and the calculations will become longer. How to avoid the longer calculations and get the answers in quicker way? I'll explain you with a very easy and simple method, a new method that I'm going to introduce with this question. So please pay attention. Now see, in this column 1, you are given class interval, that is 0 to 20 marks, 20 to 40 marks, 40 to 60 marks, and the number of students who scored the marks in this interval. Okay, so 55 students scored between 0 to 20, 80 students scored between 20 to 40. You understand this now. Now you also understand this in such case. What do we have to do? We first of all have to find out the class mark, that is the mid value, right? And we denote it by what? We denote it by xi, right? And the number of students who scored, we denote, this is a frequency, so we denote it by fi, right? So what is the mid value for the first class interval? It is 20 plus 0 divided by 2, that is 10. Second one is what? This is 30. We found out in the last question. You understand this now. Okay, so this is 70 and this is 90. But now in the previous case, what we did, to go ahead, we did 55 into 10, 80 into 30. That is what we would have done. But now you can see that the data is getting larger. The number of students here is more, right? So if I multiply this 55 into 10, 80 into 30, 45 into 50, and then I add up everything, the calculations will become very lengthy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce a method called as assumed mean. This is a new method that I'm going to introduce to you, which is going to make your calculations very simple, very quick, and very easy. And this is a very easy method which you must use. Okay. In this method, what I'll do is I've found out the mean of all the classes, that is mid value of all the classes, right? So from one of these values, that is 10, 30, 50, 70, 90, I'll say that one of these values, I'll assume it to be my mean, right? I'll say that these are my mean marks for the class. And for the purpose of this question, I'm assuming it to be 50. You want, you assume it to be 30, you assume it to be 70, you can do anything. Okay. I'm assuming it to be 50 for now. Okay. I'm assuming that my mean marks is 50 for this class. Now, as the next step, what will I do? I will simply subtract this mid value or the mean value that I have assumed to be my mean from the mid value for each of these class intervals. So what I'll do is 10 minus 50. What does this give me? This gives me minus 40, right? 30 minus 50. What does this give me? This gives me minus 20. Similarly, 50 minus 50, what does this give me? This gives me 0. 70 minus 50, what does this give me? 20. 90 minus 50, this gives me 40, right? And I say that this is what? This is my assumed mean, right? I have assumed mean was 50, and from that I have tried to just scale down the values for my purpose of calculations, to make my calculations faster. And okay, I'll say that this is DI for me, right? Now what I'll do, I will multiply this frequency and the new value that I have found out, DI, and find the value for each of these columns. Okay, so what I'll do, the next thing I'll do is 55 into minus 40, 80 into minus 20, 145 into 0, 95 into 20, 25 into 40. So you see, just by using the concept of assumed mean, I am trying to scale down my calculations. I am trying to reduce the number of calculations that I have to make, right? So just keep taking a look at, keep just following what I am saying, and things will become pretty simple for you. We will see one more practice question so that things become clearer to you. Just keep following. Okay. So what does this give me? 55 into minus 40. This is what? This is 2200 with a minus sign, right? This is what? This is 8 to the 16 minus 1600, right? This is what? This is 0. This is what? This is 95 into 2, that is 1900. This is equal to 1000, right? And now I will just add up everything. This gives me what? This gives me minus 2200 minus 1600. This is minus 3800 plus 0 plus 1900 plus 1000. This is 2900. What does this give me? This is nothing but minus 900, right? So what is this? This is the value of FIDI, right? These are the columns that I have multiplied. I have multiplied the second column and the fourth column that I generated. So this is the value of FIDI. FIDI is what? Is minus 900, right? How many students do I have? I have a total of 400 students. It is given to me. So FIDI, the next step is FIDI upon what? FI, right? Sigma FIDI upon sigma FI. This is equal to minus 900 upon minus 400 upon 400. Sorry, this is plus 400. This is not minus 400. So this is what? This is equal to 9 by 4. This is equal to what? If you divide it, it is equal to 4 to the 8.25. 2.25 this will come out to be. So this is the value of my sigma FIDI upon sigma FI. But this is not my mean yet. What is my mean? Mean is equal to x bar is equal to my assumed mean. Assumed mean, I am denoting it by A. This is by my assumed mean. This 50, this is my assumed mean. So A plus sigma FIDI upon sigma FI. This is all I am doing, right? So this is equal to what? Assumed mean. I assume that 50 is my mean. And the value that I found out to be is sigma FIDI upon sigma FI is what? It is equal to minus 2.25. Is minus 2.25, right? So this is equal to what? This is equal to 47.75, and this is my mean marks for the class. Nothing difficult at all here. All that I am trying to do is I am trying to use the concept of assumed mean, and I am trying to reduce my calculations. I am trying to scale down my calculations, right? Rather than multiplying 55 into 10 or 80 into 30, I am just trying to scale down my calculations so that when I add everything, my values are smaller. When I multiply everything, my values are smaller. If you are confused anywhere, if you find it difficult at all, just pause the video here and take a good look, because this is very, very important for you. The method is extremely easy. There is nothing difficult at all here. When we see some more practice questions, things will become clearer in your mind. But make sure that you have understood it. Okay? Okay, so let us see one more practice question. Question number 3. The distribution of daily wages for workers is given below. Find the mean daily wages given by the company. Again, a very easy question. We are again going to see the power of assumed mean here. See carefully. Okay. So when you see the table, the first column is what? The daily wages in rupees for the workers. And it is seen that the data is given in the form of group data, that is class intervals. So 100 and 220 rupees, they are made by 12 workers. Then 14 workers make between 120 to 140 rupees. 8 workers make between 140 to 160 rupees. We know this pretty well now. Okay. And since this is the data is given to me in the form of class intervals, first thing I'm going to find out my class mark, right? So what is my class mark here? 120 plus 100 by 2. So this gives me what? 110, right? So this is 260 by 2. This is 130. This is what? 150. This is what? Again, this is equal to 170. And this is 200 plus 180, 380 by 2, 190, right? So this is the value of the midpoint, right, for each of the class intervals. Now from here, I'll assume one of these to be my means. Okay, assumed mean. I'll take one of these values to be my assumed mean and I'll say this is my mean for this question. Okay, so what am I going to do? Which one of these I'll assume? Okay, let me assume 130 to be my mean. You can do it 150, 170, 110, whatever you may want it to be, right? For myself, I'm assuming it to be 130 because I see that the biggest number to multiply here is again 14. Okay, and this will make my calculations easier. Okay, so what I have to do next? 110 minus 130. So what does this give me? This gives me 110 minus 130. This is equal to minus 20, right? So this is from here 130 minus 130, 0. 150 minus 130, 20. This is what? This is 40. This is 190 minus 130. This is 60. What is this? This is the value of my DI. Okay. We have seen this in the previous slide. What is the next thing that I have to do from here? I'll simply multiply my minus 20 into 12. This is what is equal to? This is equal to minus 240. Okay. The next thing is 14 into 0. This gives me 0. The next thing is 20 into 8. This is what? This is equal to 160. 40 into 6 is 240. The next thing is 60 into 10, 600. I'll add up all of these, right? So minus 240 plus 240, here itself it gets cancelled and my answer for this is what? 760. This is what? This is the value of sigma Fi Bi, right? This is not the mean yet. So what is my mean here? X bar is my mean and the formula is assumed mean. Okay, I denoted by A plus sigma Fi Di upon sigma Fi, right? The total number of workers, that is what we divided by. So this is equal to, I assumed it to be 130 plus 760 divided by, what is the total number of workers? Let's add up the second column. So this gives me 14 plus 6 is 20, 30, 40, 50. This gives me 50 workers. So this is a total of 50 workers. 760 divided by 50, right? So this becomes 5 ones of 5 and this becomes 25, 5 5s are 15 point, 5 5s are 25.2, 15.2. So 130 plus 15.2 is my mean daily wage, that is equal to 145.2 rupees. This is the value of my X bar and this is my mean daily wages for these workers. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I tried to show you the whole thing, that is why I took so much of time also. Otherwise, this question can be solved very easily and you will start directly solving from here, right? and you can easily solve this kind of a question in what? In 45 to 50 seconds, not more than that. You will not take, even if the data is longer, you will not take more than this much of time, right? Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so now if you wonder whether the method of assumed mean would work in cases where the accurate data or ungrouped data is given to you or not. Question number 4 is for you. Question number 4 is, the distribution of footsteps taken by some people per minute is given below. Find the mean of footsteps taken per minute. Okay, again a very easy question, and we are trying to check the power of assumed mean method once again. Okay, so the first column here says number of footsteps taken per minute. Okay, the column number 2 is number of people who take these footsteps per minute. Okay, so I'm assuming that my mean footsteps taken per minute is, I'll assume one value. Okay, and for my purpose I'm assuming it to be 29. You want it to assume 27, do that. You want to assume 35, you can do that also. Okay, since I'm assuming 29, my value of A is what? It is equal to, I'll denote it by 29. What is the next step that I take? I have to subtract it from each of these data. So 25 minus 29 is equal to what? It is equal to minus 4. 27 minus 29 is minus 2. This is equal to 0. This will give me 35 minus 29 will give me 6. 38 minus 29 will give me what? It will give me plus 9. Next thing is, I have to find out my third column, that is FIDI. I have to multiply it by the frequency, right? So I am multiplying it with the frequency now. So minus 4 into 2 is what? Minus 8. This is minus 6. This is 0. 6 4s are 24. 9 2s are 18. Right? So this is my individual value for FIDI. But for my purpose, what do I have to do? I have to find the value of sigma FIDI, which means I have to add up all of these. Right? So what does this give me? Sigma FIDI for me becomes what? Minus 8 minus 6 is minus 14 plus 0 plus 24 plus 18. Right? So minus 14 plus 24, 10. This is 10 plus 18 is 28. Right? Now what is the value of mean for me? X bar is equal to assumed mean plus sigma FIDI divided by sigma FI. Right, divided by the total frequency, total number of people. I assume my A to be what? Assumed mean for me was 29 plus sigma FIDI is what? I have got it to be 28 divided by sigma FI, that is the total number of people. So for that, what do I have to do? I'll have to add up the total number of people. The people are given to me in the table, right? So 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 14. This is 14. So I have total 14 number of people here. So 28 divided by 14 is what I do. So what does that become? 29 plus 28 by 14 is 2. So this is equal to 31 footsteps per minute is my average here, right? If you want, you can check what the answer for traditional method would come out to be. It would come out to be same. And with traditional method, what do I have to do? I have to sigma fx upon sigma f. This is what we used to do, but the calculations will be longer in this case. That is why we try to harness the power of assumed mean method. Okay, very easy question, nothing difficult at all, and you can solve these type of questions within 20 to 25 seconds. I would say it should not take longer than that. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to discuss is something really important, because you'll find very direct questions in the exams from these properties of mean. So mark it a star and pay attention. Okay, the properties of mean says, if you add, subtract, divide or multiply each item of data by a number, by a particular number, mean is affected in the same way. Okay, and I'll just try to demonstrate it to you so that you do not have to remember everything. But what I'm expecting from you is your focus. Okay, so pay attention. What is given to us is that if the value of x is given to us and we find the mean of this value. Okay, now the value of x given to us is 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 6. Okay, we want to find the mean here. What we'll do? We'll add up all these values. Okay, the value will come out to be, when we add up all these things, the value will come out to be sigma x will be 28. And since there are 7 number of observations, we will divide it by 7, right? So the mean in this case would come out to be what? The mean would come out to be 28 by 7, that is 4. Now what the question expects from us is, what is going to be the effect if I add 2 to each of these data items, each of these values of x? How is the mean going to get affected? Okay, so what we do, we add 2 to each of these values of x, okay, and we'll see how the mean is getting affected. So 2 plus 2 we get 4, 5 plus 2 we get 7, 5 plus 2 7 again. So this is how we find our second column, the values in the second column. We add 2 to each of these values of x in the first column. Okay, what does the sum come out to be? The sum come out to be that my sigma x comes out to be 42. When you add all these values in column 2, your answer will come out to be 42. That is the value of sigma x. And when I want to find the mean, I'll just divide it by the number of observations, which is 7. So my mean comes out to be 6. How is the mean getting affected? The mean earlier was x bar and the new mean is x bar plus 2, right? Can you see that from here? How is it getting affected? When you add 2 to each of the values of x, the mean is also getting affected in the same way, right? What happens when you subtract a particular value? Similarly, we'll go ahead. So x minus 3. Let us see if we subtract 3 from each of the values of x. So the new values of x, this column would come out to be 2 minus 3, that is minus 1. 5 minus 3, that is 2, right? 5 minus 3, that is 2 again. 4 minus 3, 1 again. Okay. Similarly, all these values of the third column comes. Okay, the values come out. Okay. Now, to find the mean, I have to first of all add all these observations, right? The sum comes out to be, you can check, the sum would come out to be 7. That is the value of sigma x. And when I try to find the mean, I have to divide it by 7 because there are 7 number of observations. The mean comes out to be 1 in this case, right? How is it related to the original mean? Do you see? This is also x bar minus 3, right? We subtracted 3 from each of the values of x and my mean also got affected in the same way. Similarly, you can check what happens when you multiply and divide each item of x by a particular value. So for the fourth column, I'm assuming that I multiplied by 2. So the values of x into 2 now become what? 4, 10, 10, 8, 6, 6, 12. When I add all of these, the value of sigma x come for me, okay, and it comes out to be 56. 7 number of observations, so divided by 7. What is the new mean? The new mean comes out to be 56 by 7, that is 8. How is it related to the original mean x bar? So it is x bar multiplied by 2, right? We multiplied each item of each of these values of x by 2. The mean is getting affected in the same manner. And similarly, you can check when you divide each of the values of x by 2. So what happens? The values here in this column become 1, 5 by 2, 5 by 2, 2, 3 by 2, 3 by 2, 3, and when you add all of these, you get the value of sigma x, right? In this case, it will come out to be 14. And since there are 7 number of observations, so 14 by 7. So this gives me again what? 2. How is it related to the original mean? It is x bar was the original mean, right? So I divided by 2. So this gives me 2, right? So that is what the properties are trying to tell you. Since I did not want you to remember anything here, I demonstrated the whole thing in front of you. And now let us see how the question gets formed on this. And the question will be something like, the mean of 17 terms is 25. What is the new mean if 5 is subtracted from each observation? Now just imagine if you were not aware of these properties of mean. You would keep wondering how to solve this kind of a question, or you may take too long. Okay, but now what you will do? You will simply say the old mean was 25 and 5 is subtracted from each of the observations. So I'll subtract 5 from the original mean, right? My answer is what? 20. In second case, what happens? 5 is added to each observation. What happens? 25 was the original mean. 5 is added to each of the terms. So I add 5 to the original mean. My answer would come out to be 30, right? 5 is multiplied to each of the observations. What happens? 25 was the original mean. I multiplied 5 to each observation. So I'll multiply 5 to the mean also, right? So this gives me 125. Each observation is divided by 5. So what happens? My original mean was 25. Each item is divided by 5. So I'll divide the mean also by 5, right? So this gives me 5. Now see, once you're aware of these properties and how they affect the mean, you can find answers to such questions within 1 second, right? And if you are not aware, you would do lengthy calculations. That is why knowing that properties of mean was important. Okay, so make sure that you do not make a mistake in this type of a question. This can be very, very scoring, and you can just solve it within 1 to 2 seconds. You just have to read the question because now you are aware of these properties. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now coming to 3 very important things that are very, very closely related to mean and are very important from the point of view of statistics, because based on them the questions are usually asked in the exams. And these questions are so simple that you should never lose out your marks based on them. Okay. The first thing that I want to talk about is the variance. Variance, it is a measure of how data points differ from the mean. Okay. This is just for the understanding sake. And the value that you find out for the variance is always a positive value. Okay. Mark this as a star because there is a direct question possible from here, an objective type question. Okay. And you denote variance by sigma square. Now, if I come to how to calculate this variance, sigma square is equal to sigma mod of x minus x bar square divided by n. Okay, x is what? X is the data here. And x bar is what? X bar is the mean, as we already know. And n is what? N is the number of observations. Okay. Now, to see how to practically implement it, let's take this example. In this example, we are given some data. 2, 5, 8, 9 are the 4 numbers given to me here. Okay. And I'm required to find the variance from here. So, first of all, what is my need? My need is, first of all, I need to know x bar, that is the mean. Okay. So, that is equal to what? Add all the data, right? And divide by the number of observations. This is equal to 24 upon 4, which is equal to 6. So this gives me my mean. Now, how to calculate the variance from here? The data given to us is 2, 5, 8 and 9. Okay. And my mean is what? X bar is equal to 6. Okay. And from the formula, come to the formula that we wrote. X minus x bar is the first thing that we have to find out. And then we have to square it. So 2 minus 6 is equal to what? 2 minus 6, let me do it for you, is equal to minus 4. Okay. 5 minus 6 is what? It is equal to minus 1. 8 minus 6 is what? It is equal to 2. And 9 minus 6 is what? It is equal to 3. So this is x minus x bar that I have found out. Right. So this second column is x minus x bar that I have found out. Now sigma x minus x bar square. So next thing is x minus x bar square. Okay. So minus 4 square is 16. Minus 1 square 1. 2 square is 4. 3 square is 9. Right. So what do you see from here? When I add up everything, I can find out the sigma value, sigma x minus x bar whole square. Right. So that gives me what? This is equal to 30. Right. So from here, what is the value of sigma square, that is variance? This comes out to be 30 divided by how many number of observations do I have? I have 4 observations. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So divided by 4. Right. So this will give me what? This will give me 4 7s are 28, 7.5. So sigma square's value here is what? It is nothing but 7.5. Very, very easy. Nothing difficult at all here. Pause the video here if you need to and just take a very good look at this slide because things are very, very easy here. I don't want any one of you to lose out your marks because of finding out variance. Okay. Now, the next important thing that they will ask you is what is standard deviation, and they may ask you to find out the standard deviation for the given data. Okay. So, standard deviation is nothing but the square root of variance. Okay. It is denoted by sigma. Pay attention. Okay. And it is always a positive value. Right. So, we denoted variance by what? Variance by sigma square. And we are denoting standard deviation by sigma. This is the only thing. So standard deviation is equal to square root of variance. Let me denote it by V for the time being. Okay. And when you take the square root, you will come across positive, negative, both values. But every time you have to take only and only you have to consider only and only the positive value. Okay. Standard deviation is only a positive value. Okay. And your third thing here is coefficient of variance. This coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100. That is equal to standard deviation upon mean multiplied by 100. Okay. The answer that you find is always in percentage. Okay. Now, if I wanted to write it in the form of symbols, I would write it as sigma upon x bar multiplied by 100. Very easy to find. Let us see some practical implementations of it and how to find these values. Question number 6. Find mean, variance and standard deviation of the given data set. Now the data set given to me is the values of x are given to me. Okay. So I know mean is equal to what? Mean is equal to the summation of all these values divided by the number of observations. So what is the summation of all these values divided by number of observations? This is equal to 20, 32, 32 plus 9 is 41, 50, 54. 54 by 6 is my mean. That is equal to what? This is equal to 6 9s are 54. So my mean, that is x bar, is equal to nothing but 9. Okay. Now I know that sigma square, that is variance, is equal to mode of x minus x bar square sigma here divided by n. Okay, that is total number of observations. Okay, so what do I have to do? I have to first of all find out x minus x bar. See, I am doing step by step just to show you. Otherwise, I'll show you how to quickly jump to the next step. Okay, so x minus x bar is equal to 9. So 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 9 is 0, 12 minus 9 is 3, 10 minus 9 is 10 minus 9 is 1, 9 minus 9 is 0, 4 minus 9 is minus 5. Right. Next is I have to square this thing, right? I have to square this thing. So what does that give me? This gives me 1, 0, 9, 1, 0 and this is 5 5s are 25, right? So summation of all this gives me what? Summation of all this is sigma, right? So this is equal to this 10, 11, this is equal to 36, right? So sigma mode x minus x bar square is equal to 36. When you take a mode of something, you take the positive value. That is what it just means, nothing else. Okay. So this is the value of x minus x bar mode, so the whole square. Okay. So from here sigma square is equal to what? 36 upon the number of observations, that is n, upon 6, that is equal to what? This is equal to nothing but 6. So my variance is 6. My mean is 9 and now my standard deviation is equal to what? Square root of 6, right? This is what? This is nothing but standard deviation. So see how easy this kind of a question is. All that you have to remember is for sigma, that is standard deviation, you have to pick up only the positive value. Standard deviation is never a negative value. That is the only thing you have to remember. So from here what do I get? I get x bar is equal to 9, sigma square, that is variance, is equal to 6 and sigma, that is standard deviation, is equal to square root of 6. Right? Very easy, nothing difficult at all. All that you have to just know is what do you have to do here. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. Mean of a given data set is 16 and its variance is what? 4. Find standard deviation and coefficient of variance. Okay, So it is given to me that x bar is equal to 16. That is what the mean is. Okay. Variance, sigma square is given to me as 4. I have to find out the value of sigma and I have to find out the coefficient of variance, right? Let me see how to do that. So sigma is equal to what? This is equal to square root of 4. I know this is equal to standard deviation, right? Standard deviation is square root of variance. So this is a positive value. So from here my standard deviation comes out to be plus 2, right? And now I know coefficient of variance is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100. This is equal to what? Standard deviation I have just found it to be 2. Mean is given to me as 16 and I have to multiply it by 100, right? So this gives me 2 8s are 16. This is equal to 100 upon 8, right? This is equal to, okay, 4 2s are 8, 425. This is equal to 12.5 and the coefficient of variance is a percentage value. So 12.5%, right? See how easy it is to find this. Is nothing difficult at all, as I said earlier. All of these questions are very, very easy type of questions. All that you have to know is how to solve these questions. Okay. So now the next important thing that we study in statistics is mode. First of all, we need to know what is this mode. Mode is the observation that appears the maximum number of times, that has got the maximum frequency in the data set. Okay. So you can say that it is the data that is repeated maximum number of times in the table. Okay. If I try to show it to you with the help of an example, let us see this first table here. In this table, the first row is number of goals by a team in matches and how many matches they have played. It is shown in the next row. Okay. So in one match they have scored 0 goal. Then the data says that when we go to the second column, in one match again they scored 1 goal. Then there were 3 matches in which they scored 2 goals. Then 2 goals each. Okay. There were 2 matches in which they scored 3 goals each. Again, there were 2 matches in which they scored 4 goals each. And then there was just 1 match in which they scored 5 goals. Okay. So which data appears the maximum number of times, right? So we see that this is the frequency. Number of matches is the frequency. So the maximum frequency here is 3, right? But this 3 is not your mode. The data associated with this 3, that is 2, is your mode. Okay. So 2 appears the maximum number of times here. 2 has a frequency of 3. 2 goals happen in 3 matches. They happen thrice, right? So that is what the mode here is. So 2 here is your mode. Pay attention that this frequency, maximum frequency, is not your actually mode. This is not your mode. This takes you to the data that is actually your mode. Okay. So make sure that when you mark your answer, you pay attention to this thing. Now see, there is a possibility that the data can be given to you in the grouped format, like it is given to you in table number 2. Okay. Here number of volunteers is given to you in the first row and how many groups have these volunteers is given to you. Okay. So there are 5 groups that have got 5 to 7 volunteers. Then there are 7 groups that have got 7 to 9 volunteers. There are 3 groups that have got 9 to 11 volunteers. There are just 2 groups that have got 11 to 13 volunteers. So this number of groups is what? It is the frequency, right? So what is the maximum frequency here? The maximum frequency here is 7, right? So the class associated with it, the class interval associated with it is the modal class. Okay, so which means that our mode will lie in this class 7 to 9. So this is what? This is modal class, right? Now how do we actually find the mode of in such a case? We'll learn that. Okay, but before that, know that this 7, this frequency is denoted by F1. Okay, the frequency in its previous class is denoted by F0 and the frequency in its next class is denoted by F2. These are the frequencies. Okay, what is the lower limit of this class which has got the frequency F1? The lower limit here is 7, Lower limit of this class is, modal class is 7. And what is the range of this modal class? The range of this modal class is 9 minus 7, that is equal to 2. These are certain things that you must bear in mind because you will require them to solve the questions. Okay. If you need, you can pause the video here and take a good look at the screen. Okay. So now let us see this question. Question number 8. The table below shows the runs scored by top batters in international one-day cricket. Find the mode. Okay. So some data is given to you in this table. The first row here says the runs scored by these batters in the international one-day cricket. Okay. And the class intervals are 3000 to 4000 runs, 4000 to 5000 runs, 5000 to 6000 runs, 6000 to 7000 runs. And how many batters have actually scored runs in these class intervals? That is given to you in the second row. So basically this becomes your frequency, right? So there are 4 batters who have scored runs between 3000 to 4000. There are 18 batters who have scored between 4000 to 5000 runs. There are 11 batters who have scored between 5000 to 6000 runs. And there are 7 batters who have scored runs between 6000 to 7000. So when we look at row number 2, that is the frequency row, what is the maximum data that we see? What is the maximum value? 18 is the maximum value here, right? This is the highest frequency that we see in the data. So now the class interval associated to it is the modal class, which means your 4000 to 5000. This is your modal class, right? Now, how to find the actual mode? We learnt that this frequency is denoted by F1. The previous class frequency is F0. The next one is F2, right? This is what we saw in the previous slide. The lower limit of the modal class is what? It is 4000. So I am denoting it by LL. We have seen this also earlier. And what is the range of this modal class? The range is equal to 5000 minus 4000. That is equal to 1000. Okay. Now there's a formula to find the mode in such case, which I am going to teach you. Now pay attention. The mode in this case is going to be, the mode is equal to lower limit plus F1 minus F0 divided by twice of F1 minus F0 minus F2, and this is multiplied by the range. Okay, the range of the modal class, and I am denoting it by I, right? So this is something that you will have to learn. There is no other way about it. Okay. So make sure that you know this formula, but I have shown you how we have arrived this formula to this formula, right? So now let us start placing the values. Mode in this case, mode is equal to, the lower limit is what? The lower limit we have seen is 4000. It is just about placing the values now. F1's value is what? 18 minus, what is the frequency of the previous class previous to the modal class? That is 4. So minus 4 divided by twice of F1. So 18 to the 36 minus F0. F0 is the frequency of the class previous to the modal class. So F0 is what? 4. We have already marked it. F2 is the frequency of the class next to the modal class, and it is what? The value is 11. We have marked it already in the table, right? Multiplied by the range, that is 1000, right? So can we calculate it now? There's nothing difficult about it now. You can easily do it. So this becomes 18 minus 4 is 14 divided by 36 minus 25. That is equal to 21. And this multiplied by 1000. So what does this give me? This gives me 7 2s are 14, 7 3s are 21. So this is equal to 4000 plus twice of 1000 by 3 is what? 3.3. All of us know this, right? So this is an easy calculation. So this is basically equal to 4666.6 runs, right? So the modal runs are what? The mode runs are 4666.6. Pretty easy to find. There is nothing difficult here at all. All that is important for you here is this formula to find the mode. Make sure that you know this formula and you by heart it. We have already seen how to what do the values mean here. So there's not going to be any problem here. Okay. Now the question at times may go a step further and they may ask you, let's come to the question again. Okay. And they may ask you what is the difference between mode and mean. So in that case, you will have to find the mode also, you will have to find the mean also, and you will have to find the difference. You know how to find both of these now, so there should not be any problem. Okay. Now the next measure of central tendency that we study in statistics is median. And again, it is very, very important because a lot of questions are asked to you from here also. So the first question that arises here is, what actually is median? So if you are given a data set and the items are arranged in an ascending order, if the observations are arranged in an ascending order, then the value of the middlemost observation is your median. Now from here we can say that the median actually divides the data set into two equal parts. It divides the number of observations into two equal parts. Let's see this with the help of an example. So the example that we have got here has got odd number of items in the data set. Okay, and the data set is 2, 5, 4, 3, 9, 8, 11. How many terms are there? There are 7 terms in this data set. The first thing that we are going to do is we'll arrange the data in the ascending order, right? So now the data set will become 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, right? What is the middlemost term? There are 7 terms. So what is the middlemost term? The middlemost term is the fourth one, right? 3 this side and 3 this side. The fourth term is the middlemost term and its value is what? Its value is 5. So the median here becomes 5, becomes your median in this case, right? But now see, this data set was small. It had just 7 items. So you could just locate it with your eyes also. The position, fourth position, you could locate even with your eyes also. But if the data set given to you is big, then what are you going to do? Then there is a very simple formula that you can do to find the position of the middlemost term first of all. Okay. So the middlemost term's position will be what? It is n plus 1 by 2. This is the position that you are going to find, right? And the value that you find at this position is your median, right? So in our case, 7 was the number of items in the data set. That is, n was equal to 7. So 7 plus 1 by 2. Had we done this, we would have gotten 4. So fourth position is the position of the median, and the value at fourth position is what? It's 5. So the value of median here is 5, right? So just pay attention to this formula. Very, very simple. There's nothing difficult here at all. And you can find the median of a data set with odd number of items very easily if the data set is so straight. Okay. Now what would happen if there were even number of terms in the data set that is given to you? In that case, we are again going to first of all arrange the data set in the ascending order. So the data set that is given to us has got 6 items. Okay. But they are not arranged in any order. So let us first try to arrange them in an ascending order. The order would become 145, 147, then 149, 150, 155 and 160. This is what the data set would become now. Okay. Now we are not able to pinpoint a particular term, that is the middlemost term, because there are 6 items here in this case. So actually both of these terms are the middlemost term, to this side, and both of these 2 terms are the middlemost terms. Now how do we locate their position if the data given to us is large in size, if the data set is large in size? So these are the 2 positions that we are trying to locate, right? So what we'll do is, there are 6 terms right now. So let us divide 6 by 2, right? So we get what? We get 3. So this is the third term, right? And what is the next term that we have to find out? 6 by 2 plus 1, that gives us 4. So this is the fourth term. So this is how we locate the 2 terms first of all, right? And if you come to this, the formula here is to locate these two terms is you are trying to locate the n by 2th term and n by 2 plus 1th term, right? These are the two terms first of all you are trying to locate here. Once you have located these two terms, you will pick up their values. The values are what? The values are 149 and 150, right? Now simply take their average or take their mean. Now to take their mean or to take their average, you have to add both these terms and divide by 2. As simple as that. So this becomes what? This becomes 299 by 2. This is equal to nothing but 149.5, which actually is your median in this case, right? Nothing difficult, very easy thing. If you are confused anywhere or if you are finding it difficult at all, you can just pause the video for a few moments here and take a good look at this slide. Things will become pretty clear to you. Okay, now let us see what to do if the data is given to you along with the frequencies. Okay, question number 9 is marks obtained by some students are given for a class. Find the median. So now when we see this table, the blue table, we see that the first row is marks obtained by the students. And how many students scored that marks is given in the second row. So 20 marks, 29, 28, 33, 42 marks. These are the marks scored by the students. Then when we see the row second, we see 6 students scored 20 marks, 8 students scored 29 marks and so on. Now we have to find the median here. Now we can see quite clearly from here that we are not able to use the previous method that we learnt, right? Because there are some frequencies also given here. So what to do in that case? Very easy. Nothing difficult here at all. Very easy. Just keep following what I'm saying. Okay. So first of all, what I've tried to do here is I have tried to arrange the data for you in an ascending order, right? This orange table is nothing but the data is arranged for you in an ascending order. The marks are arranged for you in an ascending order. Most of the times you will find the data the way it is given in the orange table, but to show you that if it is not given to you like this, then what do you have to do? So first step is arrange the data, the marks in the ascending order. That is what I have done. Okay, and opposite to that I have written in the second row how many students scored that marks. So I have copied that data from blue table to the orange one. Nothing else till now. Okay. So now from here what do I see? I see that 20 students scored, 20 marks were scored by 6 students. 14 students scored 28 marks. Okay. Now how to calculate the median from here? The first thing that you have to do here is the cumulative frequency you have to find. Because the data at the moment it looks something like 20 marks by 6 students, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students. Then starts 28 for 14 positions, right? Then starts what? 29 for some positions, right? This is how the data currently is. But in such a situation, it is very difficult to find the median, okay? And the data is even larger in some question, it will become even difficult. So I'm teaching you a very easy method out here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all find the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is nothing but see what I'm doing. This is frequency, number of students is frequency here. So I'm just adding this. This is 6. 6 plus 14 is what? It becomes 20, right? 20 plus 6 is what? 26. 26 plus 13, 39. 39 plus 1 is what? It is 40, right? Cumulative frequency. And if you add the data in the second column also, you will find 40, which means we are talking about 40 students here, okay? It means the data set has got 40 items, which is even number of items. Now for even number of items that we saw that we have to locate n by 2 and n by 2 plus 1th position, the data at these positions, right? So 40 by 2 is what position? This is 20th position that I'm talking about. And the other one is 40 by 2 plus 1, that is 21st position that I'm talking about, right? Now come to this table, orange table again. What is the data at the 20th position? The 20th position would lie here, right? First 6 students scored 20 marks. Next 14 students scored 28 marks, right? So the 20th student would lie in this range, right? And what is the marks they have scored? They have scored 28 marks, right? Here the students with 28 marks end, and then start the students with 29 marks. So my 21st position would lie in this row, right? And what is the data here? The data here is 29 marks, right? So basically I'm trying to find the mean of the data at 20th position and 21st position. So the mean of 28 plus 29, this is what I'm trying to find here, right? And this gives me what? This is equal to 57 by 2. This is equal to 28.5, which is equal to which is actually my median here. Okay, nothing difficult at all here. All that you have to do is you have to be able to locate the right positions, which is again very easy. Just see where your 20th position will lie and where your 21st position will lie. Okay, if you are finding it difficult, if you are confused anywhere, I highly request you to pause the video here itself and take a good look at this slide. Do not move ahead, because this is again a very important variety of questions that you will definitely find in the exams. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Question number 10. Following is the distribution of weights of 30 students in a camp. Find the median weight of the students. Now, in this variety of questions, you will see that the data is given to you in the form of class intervals. So, if you see the row 1, the weight of the students is given to you in kgs in class intervals, 40 to 45 kgs, 45 to 50 kgs, and so on. And the second row tells you that how many students lie in each of the class intervals. So 5 students have weights between 40 to 45 kgs, then 4 between 45 to 50, 7 have weights between 50 to 55 kgs, and then you are required to find the median of this data, right? The median weight you have to find out. So here, this is again a very easy variety of question. There is nothing difficult about it. All that you have to know is how to go ahead with it. Okay. So as we learned, we'll first of all find the cumulative frequency denoted by CF. Okay. So here 5 plus, this is 5, we'll copy it as it is. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 7 is what? 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. 22 plus 8 is 30. So these are 30 students, right? So if you total the row 2, make a total of the items in the row 2, your answer will again be what? It will be the total of all the frequencies, which is 30. And 30 is what? It is the number of students, right? So n is equal to, how many observations do we have? N is equal to 30 for us, right? So what we'll do here is, the first thing we'll do here is 30 by 2 we will do, right? N by 2 we will find. That is what we learned. We are trying to find the middlemost position, right? So this will give me what? This will give me 15, right? Now coming to the cumulative frequency row. 15 is larger than 9 and lesser than 16. So where will it lie? It will lie here, somewhere here, right? 15 will lie somewhere here in this class interval, right? Because it is lesser than 16 but larger than 9. So this item will lie somewhere here. So which means my 50 to 55 becomes what? It becomes my median class, right? 50 to 55, the class interval 50 to 55 becomes my median class, right? And we know that every class has a lower limit and an upper limit. The lower limit here is what? The median class is, lower limit is 50 LL, and the upper limit is here what? 55. This is UL, we denoted by UL. We have learned this already. Now there is a formula that you have to use here, okay? And you will have to learn this formula. There is no other way about it. So the formula is, the median in this case is equal to L plus N by 2 minus cumulative frequency upon frequency into H. H is the size of the class. So let us see what each of these items mean here first. L is equal to lower limit of the median class, We have already seen that it is 50 here. What is the value of here? We have got the value 50 here. Number of observations. How many number of students are there? They are 30. Cumulative frequency of class preceding the median class, right? So our median class came out to be 50 to 55. What is the cumulative frequency of the class just before that, the class preceding it? The class preceding it is 45 to 50 class interval, and its cumulative frequency is what? It is equal to 9, right? Frequency of the median class. Median class's frequency is what? How many students lie in the median class of 50 to 55? 7 students are there, right? And what is the size of the class? The size of the class here is, class interval is 55 minus 50. This is equal to what? This is equal to 5, right? So now can we place these values in the formula? Yes, we can do that. Let us try to do that. So median in this case becomes, L is what? L is 50 for me. N by 2 is what? N by 2 is 15 minus cumulative frequency of the class preceding the median class is the value here 9 upon frequency of the median class. The frequency of the median class is what? It is 7 multiplied by 50 plus this is okay, multiplied by the size of the class, that is 5, right? So this we can now calculate very easily. 50 plus 15 minus this is 6 upon 7 into 5, right? So this is what? This is equal to 50 plus 6 5s are 30 upon 7. 30 upon 7 will come out to 4.2 something approximately, right? So my median is here 54.2, right? 54.2 is equal to the value of the median in this case. See, the question is not at all difficult. All that is important for you is to know this formula, because you will have to use this formula here in this case, and all that you have to know is, once you know the formula, is what does each of the term here means. Otherwise, there is nothing difficult about this question. It is a very, very easy question, because once it comes to calculations, there is nothing difficult. But you should be able to know which values you have to pick up. Okay. If you are confused, if you find it difficult anywhere, I would highly recommend that you pause the video here itself and take a good look at this question also. And finally, coming to a very, very important relationship between mean, mode and median. The relationship is mode is equal to thrice of median minus twice of mean. Mark it 3 stars, because this is a very, very important relationship, and based on this they are going to ask you a lot of questions. Okay. So see, the question could be something like, find the ratio mean is to mode if the ratio of mean to median is given as 3:7. So what is given to you in the question? It is given that mean is to median is what? It is equal to 3:7. So I can write it as 3x by 7x, right? We have learned this in ratios already, which means that mode from here becomes thrice of median, that is thrice of 7x, minus twice of mean. Twice of mean is 2 into 3x, right? So this gives me 21x minus 6x. This is equal to what? This is equal to 15x, which means the value of my mode here is 15x. Now what am I asked? I'm asked the relationship between mean is to mode, right? So can I place the values now? The mean is 3x for me, and the mode is what? It is 15x for me now, right? From here what do I have? I have 3 upon 15, that is 1:5. This is what the ratio is. Mean is to mode for me here is 1:5. This is the ratio. See, this is again a very, very easy type of question if you just know this single relationship between the 3 measures of central tendency. Okay. So guys, with this we come to the end of this video, and I sincerely hope that whatever we have learned today in this video is going to be useful to solve the questions in your placement tests and entrance exams also. If you have found this video useful, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends also. And if you want to stay updated with more such videos that will help you crack your placement tests and entrance exams, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Till then, bye bye and take care.